Hi, this is Chad Clark, Physical Therapy Connections, Pueblo, Colorado. So we want to give some suggestions on obstacle course racing. This is primarily for the Big Dog Brag, June 8th, Saturday here in Pueblo, Colorado. It's by CSU Pueblo, the college in town. So a couple of the obstacles that you're going to go through. First of all, let's put it this way. There's a lot of running to get to the obstacle. The 5K, which is the longest part of the Big Dog Brag, is a little over 3 miles, so you're going to have to run to the obstacles. One key thing, and I'm going to start from the ground and work up, especially in this video, that you want to have a good base of support when you're crawling. So a couple things that you can do, and I'll show you from a few different angles, is three-dimensional rocking. So you'd want to, first of all, you want to make sure you can get on your hands and knees. If you do have knee problems, I can go through a few different ways to modify that. So let's say you can get on your hands and knees. Start off with a good base of support. So you have your hands parallel to one another. My fingers are facing forward. My knees are facing my fingers, which are also facing forward. And then I'm going to do a rocking back and forth. So I'll show you from a front to back view, and then from a side view, you're going to rock back. Pretty much if you can sit on your feet, and it's good to do a few where you actually have your toes tucked under, and then a couple reps. So that would be with my toes tucked under, or actually tucked away from my shins, and then some where they're tucked under. That's just going to give you a little different feel in your hips and knees. So that would be the front and back, our first of 3 planes of motion. The second one, you get your setup again, and you're going to go side to side. Always think of your trunk as like a table. So if I had a glass of water on my back, I would not want to be spilling that. It might move and shake a little bit, but we want to keep it steady. So this is also good to mobilize the hips, shoulder blades, while you're stabilizing your trunk. Then there's rotation, which comes in 2 forms. You're going to rotate clockwise and then counterclockwise. So the 3 planes of motion, once again, are forward and back, side to side, and then rotate left, counterclockwise, rotate right, clockwise. Sets and reps, if you start off and just do 5 reps in each direction, that'll give you 15 reps total. You could work up to 3, 4, even 5 sets of 5 reps and just kind of cycle through where you do 5 forward and back, 5 side to side, and 5 rotation left and 5 rotation right. So that's a base for rocking. That's the prerequisite for crawling. So crawling, you're going to want to have a good base to do that and some good strength, because there are some crawling obstacles, especially going through the mud and water underneath the different flags that are on these obstacle courses. The ones that have barbed wire, you definitely want to be better at crawling so you don't get snagged when you're going under those obstacles. So once again, I'll show you the 3-dimensional crawling. So rocking's first as a warm-up, and then crawling, you're just going to go, and I'm going at a pretty easy pace, rather slow and controlled. You could always do this at different speeds where you could kind of pick up the pace as you get more comfortable and your knees and hands get more durable with that motion. So that would be the forward and back crawling. Side to side crawling just adds a little bit more variety and starts to work some different muscle groups, because there is different terrain and you're not always going to walk or crawl forward and back. Especially forward, you might do some side to side. Now rotation takes on a couple different forms. There's actually right rotation, so I'm going to go all the way around in a circle. So I went clockwise, and then left rotation, which would be counterclockwise, just like the rocking. There was forward and back, side to side, and then a rotational component. It's good to do 3-dimensional training because so often machines and even free weights, it's very one-dimensional, and you want to make sure that you get a very 3-dimensional approach. A couple other variations, so we're just building upon the rocking and the crawling. That was, so far we've done a lot of hands, knees, and feet. You can also do forearms, knees, and feet, because there are times where you want to get a little bit lower. You could also do that in all these different directions. And this microphone keeps falling, so I'm going to hook this up again. There's also a very low crawl that you could take the same premise where you could work from your forearms, knees, and feet, and you're going to crawl low to the ground, going forward, and then, of course, backward. And then you could add in those variations where you're going side to side, and then, of course, rotating. It gets a little tougher the lower that you get, as you can probably tell by my breathing. It's getting a little more labored. So those are the three things. So the recap: you can rock forward and back, side to side, rotate left, rotate right. You could crawl forward and back, side to side, rotate left, rotate right. Then you could crawl low on your forearms and more on your belly, forward, sideways, and rotation. So hopefully those hints will give you a good thing to train for. They're actually a good warm-up that you could start to use in any type of obstacle course racing or training. The recap is rocking, crawling, and low crawling, three-dimensional. This is for the Big Dog Brag race courses. The first one is in Pueblo, Saturday, June 8th, starting at 8 a.m. This is Chad Clark, Physical Therapy Connections, and hopefully you find this video helpful for your obstacle course racing season.